Hello, namaste, and welcome to your practice today. For today's practice, it might be helpful to have a couple of pillows on hand. You don't need them, but if you'd like to pause the video and go get those, do that now. So, for today's practice, we're going to focus on cultivating patience. I know for me, lately, this summer, I've been feeling very impatient, just impatient about little things, but also impatient to get on with life. So, my hope and my dream is that through practicing patience on the yoga mat, that will translate to our lives. So let's start in a comfortable seat. You could grab one of your pillows if you got one, and I'm gonna just fold mine up so I'll be sitting on the pillow so that my hips are a little bit higher than my feet. You could sit in a cross-legged position or a straight leg position. Just find a position where you can sit comfortably. So let's begin first by just coming to breath. So take a deep breath in, starting from your belly, moving up through your rib cage all the way through your chest, and then let the air go through your mouth. And let's try that again. So breathing in from your belly, ribs, all the way, filling your lungs completely, and then let the air go. So now we'll begin to do a couple of light neck stretches very slowly. So begin to bring your left ear to your left shoulder. Just finding a point where you feel a stretch on your right side. So notice if you're sitting up tall, drawing your shoulders down and back. That might help feel an opening and even more of a stretch. And then when you're ready to take a breath in, let your head gently rise up. And then as you exhale, bring your right ear to your right shoulder. So getting a stretch along your right side. Sorry, left side. And then when you're ready, you can come back up. So we'll just do a couple of shoulder rolls. So draw your shoulders up towards your ears and then draw your shoulder blades down and back. And we'll do that with breath. So breathing in as your shoulders come up, exhaling, drawing your shoulder blades back and down. And let's do that one more time. Breathing in and out. Perfect. Okay, so we'll come on to all fours next. So bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Your knees will be about hip width distance apart. And just begin to move from side to side. So coming to the left and right. You'll do that a couple times. And then move forward and back, just a little bit back. And then maybe with each progression, maybe sinking back a little bit further towards child's pose. So moving forward and backwards. Let's do that one more time. Forwards and backwards. Now this time when you come up, draw your chin and tailbone up as you inhale. Now exhale, round your spine into cow, drawing chin towards chest, and then sink back towards child's pose. So let's do that again. So as you breathe in, come up to all fours, bring your chin and tailbone up, and then exhale, bring your chin to chest, rainbow your spine, and then sink to child's pose. And let's do that one more time. All fours, then coming up to cow, chin and tailbone up, exhaling, chin to chest, rainbow your spine, and sink to child's pose. So now sink all the way into child's pose. So you could bring your knees a little bit wider. If that doesn't feel good, you could draw your knees together and bring your hands along your side. And then rest your forehead on the mat. If it's difficult for you to rest your forehead on the mat, you could bring one of your pillows and let your forehead rest on your pillow. So now let's just take a couple of breaths here, settling in, bringing awareness to your breath. So noticing as you inhale that your chest and belly press onto your thighs. And then as you exhale, draw your navel to your spine. Notice if there are any areas that you're holding tension and see if you can find a little bit of relaxation in those areas. So we'll take one more breath in and out. Now bring your right hand to the right side of your mat and place your left hand over your right. So giving a stretch along your whole left side body, you could rest your head on your right arm. So really feeling that stretch, and take a deep breath in and feel the breath even giving you a little bit more of a stretch as you inhale. So we'll take one more breath here, then come back to center to child's pose. And then when you're ready to take a breath in, bring your left hand over to the left side of the mat and place your right hand on top of left. So in this position, you could rest your head on your left arm. So feeling the openness all along your right side body. Taking a full inhale to stretch your right side even further. And then you can come back to center. Rest your forehead on the mat. Take a breath or two here. Press into all fours. Once again, finding your hand placement, spreading your fingers wide, your hands underneath your shoulders. Now curl your toes and lift your knees off the ground. And we'll stay here for a breath. Bringing your navel to your spine. Now slowly draw your tailbone up to the sky into a bent knee downward dog position. So from this bent knee downward dog position, let your neck completely relax. You could give a very gentle yes/no shake to your head and start to pedal your feet. So drawing one heel towards the ground and the other. And notice if you have the urge to move really fast back and forth, and see if you can slow that down, moving with your breath. So exhaling as one heel goes down, bringing both heels up as you inhale, and then exhaling the other foot down, the other heel towards the ground. Breathing in as you come up. Exhaling as one heel goes down. Breathing in, both heels up. Exhaling the other heel down. As you inhale, look to your hands and then walk your feet up to your hands and come to a halfway lift, so you'll have a very flat back. And then as you exhale, run your hands down the back of your legs and forward fold. You can have your knees quite bent and let your neck relax. So let the crown of your head face the ground. So we're going to stay here for a couple breaths. You could come to stillness, resting your hands by your sides. You could hold on to opposite elbows. It might feel good to sway back and forth. Just
working out any kinks you might feel.
Now, as you breathe in, come to halfway lift and then slowly rise up. Bring your arms up all the way to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, draw your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So come into the front of your mat. Bring your feet about hip width distance apart. And we'll come to our mountain pose or Tadasana. So starting with your feet, feel your feet, four corners of your feet pressing into your mat. Notice where your knees are. See if you can give a slight micro bend to your knees so that the strength of your legs is holding up your bones instead of placing a lot of stress on your knee joints. So take a breath in, draw your shoulders up towards your ears, and then draw your shoulder blades down and back. And come into mountain pose. So standing up tall, reaching the crown of your head toward the ceiling, but feeling your feet pressing into the earth. So feeling the length and energy all through your body. So now we're going to do a technique called alternate nostril breathing with breath, with movement. So start by drawing your left hand up to the sky. Place your right hand on your right nostril. So now exhale through your left nostril and your left arm will go down. Now breathe in through your left nostril. Bring your left arm up to the sky. Now switch hands. So place your left finger on your left nostril, and as you exhale, bring your right hand down. And then as you breathe in through your right nostril, bring your right arm up. And then switch hands. So place your right hand on right nostril and your left hand will go down and you'll exhale through your left nostril. Bring your left arm up. Breathe in through your left nostril. And then switch. So let's do that one more time. So exhaling, right arm down. Inhaling through your right nostril, right arm up. And then switching. Left arm down, breathing through your left nostril. And then left arm up, breathing through your left nostril. Now bring both arms up to the sky. We'll do a slight back bend if that feels okay with your palms together. Breathing in, and then bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So come to the top of your mat. We're going to do sun salutations, but being very mindful and patient and slow as we do it. So draw your hands up to the sky, breathing in, reaching, stretching. Draw your palms together, do a slight back bend. As you go to forward fold, exhale, draw your hands through your midline and tent your fingers on the ground. Now plant your hands, step your right foot back into a low lunge. Feel your hands pressing onto the earth. And we're going to stay here for a couple breaths, just rocking forwards and backwards, feeling out the stretch in our hips. So now step your left foot back and come to downward dog. Let your neck relax. So in downward dog, drawing your hips up to the sky, drawing your heels towards the earth. So feeling a lengthening all along the back of your legs. As you're ready to take a breath in, come into all fours. And then exhale, sink into child's pose. Take a breath in as you come to all fours. Curl your toes, bring your hips high and back to downward dog. As you breathe in, look to your hands. Take steps up to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold. And then press your feet into the ground as you rise up, drawing your palms together at the top. Breathing in as you take a micro back bend. And then bring your hands to your heart. Now take a deep breath in, bring your arms out and up, and then bring your hands through your midline, tenting your fingers. Step your left foot back as you plant your hands. And we're just going to rock very slowly, front to back. And then as you exhale, step your right foot back to downward dog. And then breathe in, come to all fours. Exhale, sink into child's pose. Take a breath in, come to all fours. Curl your toes, bring your hips high and back to downward dog. We'll stay here for a couple of breaths. So notice your hip placement or your foot placement and see if you need to adjust either feet closer together or wider apart. See if your neck is relaxed. Notice your hands and place a little bit of extra weight on your index finger and thumbs. So you might feel, when you do that, you might feel an opening in your back. Now look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and forward fold, and then press into the ground to rise up, reaching, extending. Draw your palms together, take a tiny back bend. Draw your hands to your heart and to your sides. Press into the ground, reaching, stretching. Bring your hands through your midline as you forward fold. Plant your hands, step your right foot back into low lunge. And we'll come into this lunge, moving forward and backwards. Now plant your right hand in the mat and lift your left hand up to the sky into a twist. Place your left hand down. Step your left foot back into plank. If plank feels like too much, you could come onto your knees. So everybody come to knees. We're going to do a pose called crouching tiger. So plant the tops of your feet on the mat. Now lower your chest to the ground, but keep your tailbone up, and then place your chin and chest on the mat. Your hands will be at your sides. And then bring your belly to the ground and come up to cobra, drawing your shoulder blades back. Lower forehead to the ground. Now press into all fours and then all the way to downward dog. Look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold, and then press into the ground to rise up. Draw your palms together, tiny back bend. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So take a full deep breath in, arms extending, reaching, another tiny back bend, and then bring your hands through your midline, tent your fingers, and then plant your hands, step your left foot back into low lunge, and move back and forth, feeling an openness in your hip joint. Now place your left hand on the mat and open up into a twist on this side. Stretching your fingers up to the sky, feeling a line of energy all the way down to your opposite hand. Now place your right hand on the ground, step your right foot back to plank. Come to your knees, plant the tops of your feet into the mat. Lift your tailbone up and then lower your chest to the ground and your chin into crouching tiger, drawing your shoulder blades back. Now press your belly into the earth and slide up to cobra pose, feeling the strength of your back muscles as you pull your shoulder blades back and down. Now lower down, resting your forehead on the mat. Press your hands into your mat. Curl your toes, bring your hips high and back to downward dog. Look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands and come to halfway lift. Hinge and fold, and then press into the ground to rise up. Reaching, extending, have a tiny micro back bend, palms together. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Now we'll come to the front of your mat and we'll be moving into tree pose. So come into your Tadasana mountain pose position. So feet pressing into the earth, micro bend in your knees, drawing your shoulders up towards your ears, and then down and back. You might find that your palms open up a little bit. So start to place your weight on most of your weight on your left foot. So you could tent the the toes of your right foot. So get your balance, still standing up tall. So you could stay here if this feels like a good balancing position for you. You could bring the sole of your right foot along your left ankle. This is a perfectly good position. Maybe up to your calf, or bringing your right foot up to your left thigh. So find a position that works for you, being careful not to place your foot on your knee. So once you find your balance, you could bring your hands to your heart or maybe up to the sky. So whatever position you're in, we're going to stay here a little bit longer than usual. So you might feel wobbling. And if you come out, that's fine. See if you can come into the position again. And draw your attention inward. So if you feel like you're struggling, feeling impatient, focus on your breath. You could bring your hands to your heart. Maybe you can focus on feeling the beat of your heart. You might begin to feel that your muscles of your foot are being impatient. And just notice if you can bring your attention again back to your breath. So focusing on your inhales and your exhales. We'll take one more breath here. And then you can bring your right foot down. We'll take a freedom breath. So take a full deep breath in, drawing hands up into a prayer pose. Take a tiny micro back bend. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides back into mountain pose. So now transfer the weight to your right foot, finding your balance again, maybe starting with just tenting toes. So maybe 90% of the weight on your right foot and just a tiny bit on your left toes. And then find a tree position that works for you. And you might find that one side is easier to balance on than the other. So once again, you could have your hands to your heart, maybe up to the sky, maybe something different on this side than you did on the other side. So find what works for you and then start to draw your attention inward, focusing on your breath, focusing on the beat of your heart. Sometimes it's helpful to find a point of focus to gaze at, maybe out in front of you. If you're feeling like you want a little bit more of a challenge, maybe you could draw inward by closing your eyes. I find that when I close my eyes, it's very challenging to stay balanced. So I'm going to keep my eyes open, but you can give that a try. And again, if you're finding that you're maybe wobbling, maybe you've come out of the pose, take a breath and then come back in. Breathing in and out, cultivating patience. We'll take one more breath here, and then you can bring your left foot down. Take a full deep breath in, reaching, extending, tiny back bend, and then bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. So come to the top of your mat, take a full deep breath in, and we're going to hinge and fold. Tense your fingers, step your left foot back, but ground your left foot into the mat. So you'll have your right leg bent into about a 90 degrees. Press in. We're going to press up. So we're in warrior one position. So hips and chest are to the front of the room. Now turn your chest and torso to the left and come to warrior two. So settling in, so pressing your right foot into the mat, feeling the strength of your right thigh, and then bringing awareness to the knife edge of your left foot, feeling the strength of your left leg, drawing your arms out to the sides, so feeling a lengthening all along your body. We'll take a breath here. Now flip your right palm as you inhale, reaching overhead to reverse warrior. Straighten your right leg, and as you exhale, reach forward as far as you can reach, and then place your right hand on your right shin, left hand on left hip, and open up your chest. So draw your left shoulder blade back. So you could stay here, or you could place your right hand to the floor, bring your left hand up to the sky, and just breathe. Focusing on your breath, focusing on the energy moving through your body. So bring your left hand down, bend your right knee, frame your right foot with your hands, and then step back to downward dog. As you take a breath in, look to your hands, walk your feet up to your hands, and come to halfway lift. Hinge and forward fold, and then press the ground as you rise up, reaching, extending. Draw your palms together and take a tiny back bend. Bring your hands to your heart and down to your sides. Press your feet into the mat as you rise up, reaching, extending. Draw your hands through your midline, tense your fingers, step your right foot back this time, grounding your right foot into the mat. Your left knee will be bent. Press up into a standing position, and then bring your hips and chest to the right. Draw your hands out to your sides, and then focus on your warrior pose. So feeling the strength in both of your legs, grounding your feet into the earth, gazing out over your left fingertips. Notice if you're holding tension in your shoulders. See if you can let that tension go. And we'll take a couple of breaths here. I find when I start in the warrior position, I immediately want to move. So let's see if we can stay here. Just one more breath. Now flip your left hand and reach overhead, reaching, extending, feeling a stretch along your left side body. Straighten your left leg and then reach as far as you can reach with your left hand forward. Then place your left hand on your left shin, right hand to right hip. Draw your right shoulder blade back. So you can stay here, or you could bring your right hand down to the ground. Notice if when you did that, you come forward. If you do, think about staying up and keeping your chest open. So find a position that works for you, maybe bringing your right hand up to the sky, maybe gazing up at your right fingertips, and just breathing, holding the pose. And focusing on your breath. My tendency is to want to get right to the next thing, but we're gonna hold off on that urge and take one more breath. And then bend your left knee, bring your right hand to frame your left foot, step your left foot back into downward dog. And then bring your knees to the ground and then sink down into child's pose. We'll take a couple of breaths here. Just settling in. Breathing in and out. Now come up to an all fours position, and we're just going to come first to a seated position. So we'll begin with our legs in a wide V. Bring your arms up to the sky, and we're going to turn to the left. So draw your right hand to the front, to left hand behind you, and then just gently place your hands on the ground. Sitting up tall, focusing on your breath, breathing in and out. Once again, noticing if you find any tension that you're feeling in your body, see if you can let that tension go. Take one more breath here, and then draw your arms up, and then we'll move to the other side. So bring your left hand forward, right hand back, sitting up tall, and just taking a couple of breaths right here. Breathing in and out. And we'll come to center. Now, bring the soles of your feet together. If you have your pillows handy, you could bring your pillows by your knees. So bringing the soles of your feet together, it might feel good to have that little extra cushioning. So sit up tall and just let your knees sink down. So we're going to sit here for a couple of breaths and just feel the slow opening of your hips. So the hips don't like to be rushed, and it takes time to open them up. So focus on your breath, your inhales and your exhales, and become curious. Do you feel like you want to rush out of this pose? And of course, if you feel any discomfort, you can certainly make the choice to get out, but bring awareness to if that is actual discomfort or if it's impatience to move on to the next thing. So breathing in and out. Once again, drawing awareness to other parts of your body. Notice if you're holding tension, stiffness, and see if you can let go. I notice I'm holding a little bit of tension in my shoulders. I'm going to readjust. You could, if you feel like your hips are opening, start to fold forward a little bit so your elbows will press into your shins. And from this position, let your neck relax. And we'll just take 2 more breaths here. Breathing in and out. One more time. In and out. And when you're ready to come up, you can bring your feet out in front of you. Just give a little shake, maybe massage your hips. And then we'll come into a position on our back. So slowly lower all the way down to your back. Draw your knees into your chest. And then we're just going to do some hip circles. So maybe first to the outside and then inside. Okay, from here, we're going to go in that same position, drawing your heels together. So you could once again place the pillows underneath your knees. Bring your palms up to the sky. And we're just going to settle in here. So this could be your final resting pose if you choose. If it feels comfortable, especially if you have the support of the pillows. If it doesn't, you could come to your final resting pose of Shavasana. So bringing your arms out to your side, your legs slightly spread. If neither of those positions feel good to you, find a position where you can come to stillness for the last few minutes of class. So begin to settle in, noticing your breath, and just notice a gentle quality of your breath. So no, you don't need to force your breath. Your breath will take care of itself. So begin to allow that gentle breath to breathe in relaxation to your body. So send your gentle breath down your legs, past your knees, all the way to your toes, sweeping out any tension, breathing in relaxation. Feel your legs and feet sink into your mat. Now bring awareness to your arms and send your gentle breath down your arms, past your elbows, all the way to your fingertips. Easing out any tension, sending relaxation. Feel your arms melt into the earth. Now bring awareness to your back and send your gentle breath all the way down your back, from your shoulders all the way down your spine, feeling your back melting into the earth. Now bring awareness to your neck And notice if you're holding tension, and see if you can let go and feel the sensation of your head being cradled into the earth. Draw attention to your face and notice if you're holding tension in your jaw and your cheeks, in the space between your eyes, and just let that tension melt away. So focusing on your breath, your gentle breath, breathing in and out. When I feel impatient, I remind myself of things in nature. Thinking about how a plant grows, how a tree grows, maybe an oak tree starting from an acorn. And it grows underneath the ground, changing, but we don't ever see that until a tiny shoot sprouts out of the ground. And then slowly, over time, never rushing, never hurrying, season after season, the tree grows, never rushing, sometimes growing slower if it's a rough growing season, sometimes growing faster, but always growing and changing, even if we don't see those changes, day in and day out. So think about your own life, where it seems maybe like you might be stuck. And know that even though you feel stuck, things are happening, changes are occurring. So rest with that feeling of knowing. So take a few moments here to rest and simply be. So begin to bring awareness back to your breath, noticing your inhales and your exhales. You might feel your breath start to deepen. So bringing in oxygen and energy. Feel that energy begin to course through your body, bringing movement to your arms and legs. Taking a couple more breaths, and then when you're ready, roll on to your right side. You could use your right arm as a little pillow, maybe drawing your knees up to your chest. Take a moment here in gratitude, thanking yourself for practicing today. thanking yourself for taking the time to slow down and show patience. And just remembering that it is possible to cultivate patience in our lives. So now, when you're ready, press yourself up to a seated position. And once you arrived, draw your hands to your heart, and we'll take one last breath together. So take a full, deep breath in, belly, ribs, all the way up to your lungs, and let the air go through your mouth. Thank you so much for practicing today. Namaste.